You're with BBC News. The top stories. Novak Djokovic arrives in Dubai after being deported from Australia, where the tennis open he was hoping to compete in is getting underway. 2 teenagers in the UK have been arrested in connection with the siege at a synagogue in Texas on Saturday. Well, more on that story now. The rabbi was one of those taken hostage, and he says the security training he'd received over the years was instrumental in getting him and the other 3 hostages out safely. The Anti-Defamation League say there have been over 8,000 incidents of extremism and anti-Semitism since 2020, many of them targeting synagogues. Well, to discuss security protocols used to protect synagogues in the US, we can now speak to Rabbi Noah Farkas from the Jewish Federation of Greater Los Angeles. A very warm welcome to the programme. First of all, your thoughts on what happened in Texas on Saturday?
On Saturday morning, a Sabbath for the Jewish people, terrorists came into a congregation and turned what was a very peaceful moment into a Jewish nightmare. And the Jewish community, we are all connected with each other globally, and immediately sprang into action, trying to both pray for the victims and the hostages and to initiate our own security protocols here in Los Angeles.
It must have been absolutely terrifying, because he said he had a bomb on him, you know, as well as he was armed. So extremely terrifying, as I said. But the rabbi is saying that training he'd received in advance helped him and others, and that's critical, isn't it?
It's absolutely critical. The Jewish Federation of Los Angeles, in partnership with the Anti-Defamation League and our national arm, the Jewish Federations of North America, have stood up a masterful and very comprehensive security program. Here in LA, we work with over 300 different organizations, spending nearly $1 million a year training both security guards, professionals like rabbis, executive directors, heads of school, etc., in resiliency training and security training.
We mentioned in our introduction to you that the incidents of extremism or anti-Semitism have risen significantly in the last few years. Why do you think that is?
I think we live in a world where the loudest voices become the most popular voices, and in many ways, the more extreme the message is, the more viral it goes online. And at the bottom line, what I think is going on here is that we live in a world where we just don't have patience for each other anymore. Every little thing just spins into something greater and greater and greater. And being in a historically marginalized, historically vulnerable community like the Jewish community, which has been in many ways scapegoated for everything from plagues to political unrest, for being in control, for not being in control, and in America for being too white or not being white enough, being a Jew today means having to live with the consequence of, once again, this ignition of anti-Semitism. It's a very harrowing experience. It's one that I experienced as a child, and now I have to have that same conversation with my children, that we live in a world where not everyone knows us, and many of those people who don't know us actually hate us, and some of them want to do violence against us.
I know across the US right now at synagogues that those that are there are on high alert. I would imagine security is being stepped up given what happened on Saturday. Is there a real fear that something similar could happen soon?
We're always worried about copycat attacks or secondary or tertiary types of incidences, whether they might be a mail-in package of some sort or even just bomb threats or what have you against schools. We have to be on guard. It's just part of what it means to be a Jew in the world today. We have to go to synagogue under armed guard. Some of us have to walk through metal detectors to get into organizations. It's an unfortunate consequence of the radicalization of hate and of just the deep sentiment we have, many people have against us today.
Okay, well, we appreciate you talking to us about this very important subject. Rabbi Noah Farkas, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.